Jahmai, you're the defensive stopper. How excited are you to play a team like Kentucky that has as many scores that plays as fast as they do?
Man, it's definitely exciting. It's something that I look forward to. Games like these, big games with a lot of high stakes, is something that I enjoy. I think the average player kind of shies away from that. This is something that I expect, especially coming to a conference like that. And having all the teams that are good in this conference. But just knowing that I'm only one guy, so I know I'm not going to be able to guard everybody at the same time. So just kind of knowing and kind of gauging who's hot, who's on to a good start, and kind of being able to switch onto that defender, because that's just who I am. I just want to guard whoever's playing the best. So having to gaze through that and really pick and choose who I should be guarding and switching up my matchup.
Obviously, when you look at just the numbers, Reeves and Connector guys who have similar numbers in a lot of ways. Do they have similar games when you watch Reeves on tape?
Nah, definitely not. I think they're totally different. Besides maybe that they can shoot the ball, they both can shoot really well. But Reeves is definitely more of a he's less contact. He'll go around you. He'll really shoot his floater a lot. He'll get to the basket at times, but he's curling off screens, trying to get catch and shoot shots. He's really good in transition to stop the popping threes. He's not going to put it on the floor as much. He's not going to over dribble. He's going to really take one or two dribbles, whereas DK is really like a 3-level scorer. He likes to get to the mid-range. He likes to post up. He's good in ball screens. He'll take a certain amount of dribbles to get his shot off. So I think they're two different players. So I would definitely play them differently. Just try and get into Reeves more and run him off the line and force him to make and make decisions off the bounce.
They have several weapons. What makes them so efficient offensively as a whole?
I think they just did a good job of learning each other's games and just playing off of that. They know that they each have different play styles, and they know that when they play that it's not just going to be have one guy dribbling the whole time. They do a good job of moving the ball. They do a good job of having screens, and they have a lot of different threats. And that when you have 3 or 4 guys that kind of do the same thing, it's easy to guard. But when you have 3 or 4 guys that do different things and their strengths are different, it makes it a little bit tougher to match up with them and to stop all those weapons.
Jahmai, all the talk has been about how you and Dalton have played one-on-one, but where have you seen your defense improve and adjust since you've started guarding Dalton one-on-one in practices?
Just staying the course, and knowing that these guys at this level are really good. And DK is probably one of the best players in college basketball, so I definitely had a chance of guarding that at the highest level. But just knowing that guys are going to make shots. But if I go in with the mentality that you're going to have to earn every single shot you take, and every single shot you make is going to be a long night for you. If I can get a guy under their average, or even if they get their average but their efficiency is really low, that's a win for me, because they're forcing the issue. They're trying to get something that's not really there. So I think as a defender, where freshman year, probably a little bit of sophomore year, my goal was just to shut guys at 0 points, and if I didn't do that, I was hard on myself. But now it's just more like staying the course, staying with it, and just being consistent on the defensive end, making sure I don't give up lapses where they can come off and have a little hot start.
Rod told us that you and DK played one-on-one on his visit. Had you ever played one-on-one with someone else on their visit, and after you were done, what was your takeaway about Dalton?
I do it with a lot of guys, actually, especially when I'm the main one on the visit. It's just, for me, it's just to gauge how they're going to be as a teammate. If I want a guy on my team, I want to know that he's going to compete no matter what. Whether we are at the park, whether we're in the gym, it does not matter. If I know that you're going to compete with me, especially with me, somebody that loves to compete, and I take one-on-ones very seriously. It's not like just a playing around thing. So when I can tell when a guy has that about them, it makes it easier for me to accept them as a teammate. But when they don't, it's kind of hard for me to rely on that and trust that on the court, because these are guys I'm going to battles with, so I got to know they have my back.
Your mom had someone tweeted out the clip of Rod talking about it, and you had talked to her on the phone after, and you said DK is going to come to Tennessee. What about him made you feel that way?
It was kind of the same things that brought me here. Wasn't the shoes, wasn't the gear, wasn't the outside noise, it wasn't the hype, but it was just the basketball. The basketball part, the essence, the love of basketball here, and how deeply rooted it is. And if if I'm going to get better, continue to improve here, because that's just the main goal. I just want to be the best player I can be. So knowing that and talking to DK about that and kind of having those same similarities, I can tell that he was going to come here no matter what, just because he loves the game and he wants to get better. He knows that he can get better here, especially with the teammates that he has on this team. We're going to push him just like we're pushing anybody else.
Jahmai, obviously you've been a guy who's been more of a six-man role lately, but how important will the first few minutes of this game be for you all? I mean, after what happened at Carolina, as fast as Kentucky plays, how important is that start?
It's extremely important. Extremely. It's probably the most important part of the game. I would say probably the first 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half are probably going to be the two most important part of the game, and that's really going to judge just how the game's going to go. We come in with intensity and we come in with, the way we know we can play. I don't have a problem. I don't have a doubt in the world that we're going to come out with a great win and a great game. But we can't come out second guessing. We can't come out shaky. We all have to come out with confidence. I think other guys on the teams, including myself, have to shoot more. We have to be more aggressive getting downhill. We have to look to draw more fouls, and I think that way makes it easier on also DK to get his shots going and not everybody being so keyed in on him. We have to remember that we're threats. Like, we are threats. We had a good team last year with the guys that came back, and everybody on this team can score. Everybody on this team can play. And so knowing that, we have to come to Kentucky with that same mindset, just knowing that we're going to be confident and we're going to be aggressive.
How do you guys as an offense avoid standing around waiting on DK to get things going?
Moving. You got to move. You got to move. When stuff gets stagnant, it's easy to just give DK the ball and to try and space out. But when teams that's predictable. If I'm thinking to myself, like, if I'm guarding that, I'm like, okay, that's perfect for me. I'll love for guys to just stand around and have DK go. But that's not what our offense should be. Our offense should be movement. If it's stagnant, go set a flare screen. So just random action. We got to have random action. So I think that's something that us as a team, we talk about, and just continuing to be confident players and moving in the offense, especially when it gets stagnant.
You, Dalton, and Josiah came back out to the court the other night after the game to shoot. Why was that a thing that you guys all wanted to do?
It was kind of frustrating. I think it was all for different reasons. I think DK, even though he had a good game on the stat sheet, I know it was little details that he felt he could have did better. Obviously, free throw line shooting, decision makings while he's going to the basket. So, he's always thinking about that. And Josiah, kind of the same thing. Just knowing that he could have been more aggressive. But me, it was just that, I have to be more offensively assertive. I had a stretch of games where I was, and then I kind of got back into kind of not doing much offensively, and that's not me. That's not my game. Like, before I came to Tennessee, I could score, and going into this role, I had to learn how to adjust into Barnes' offense and to be effective but also efficient. And these 2 years being here, I know how to do that, and so I have to do that more consistently just to make it easy on other guys and be a threat. Obviously, I've gotten my shot down so guys can respect me from three-point line a lot more. So, going from that, I have to be able to be more creator. Got to be able to get to the basket, get paint touches, draw more fouls, get to the free throw line more. So, just knowing that going back on the court was kind of just a reminder to me that I spend too much time on the court to not be offensively aggressive. Spend too much time in the gym to not be myself and to not be confident on the floor. So it was just a reminder that I can play, and that it's just a little boost in my confidence.
Jahmai, we know that obviously Zakai doesn't have a lot of games where he doesn't play very well. What's he like in the moments after he has a rare game where he doesn't play very well? Is he even more intense? What's he like?
I think he is even more intense. I think he's hard on himself. I think a lot of us on our team are very hard on ourselves, and I think that can be a bad thing as well as a good thing. Obviously I'm hard on myself too, so I try to just give them confidence when they're thinking or overthinking about it. But I think Z was frustrated with how he played, and I think he wants to play even better, just not for him but for us, so we can win, because that's his main goal. So talking to him, he's keyed in on these matchups. He's keyed in on playing good on both sides of the ball, and he's keyed in on being more assertive as far as being that ball handler that can create for other people and make it easier for everybody else.
Anything else for Jahmai?
I got one more. Jahmai,
last one.
ball screen coverage. If you get lost on that with a team like Kentucky, it can really bury you. And obviously, communication is important. How much of communication is emphasized here, and how much of it is an innate trait or a learned trait?
That it's a good question because I think a lot of people, it's just people feel like it's something you either have or you don't. But I definitely disagree. I got it at a very early age. I was, on a lot of defensive teams growing up, especially playing up. That's how I played. It was playing defense. So, like you said, Kentucky, if you get lost in the ball screens, it's gonna make it very hard for them to stop it. But if you get out and you're aggressive on them, and you can pressure them, and you can do it without fouling, it's gonna make it easier. But it goes with the guards and the bigs working well together. So that's why these practices that we're about to have and these scout teams that we're about to do, we have to be keyed in on it because we all have to be on the same page. We all have to be on the same, kind of line. So knowing that, when we can execute that, it's going to make life easier on both ends. We can get out and run, we can get out and get in transition, and we can also come back and stop them from scoring. So that's definitely a point of emphasis for us, just being on the same page.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jahmai.